What's going on, everybody? In this video I'm going to be comparing modern Controls Luke to classic Controls Luke. Basically we're going to be looking at the pros and cons of modern Luke. So the big difference is that modern Luke loses certain moves while gaining the ability to do a lot of his special moves and all of his supers instantly, so without having to do the manual input. However, he gets a 20% damage reduction. If you don't want that damage reduction, you can still do those moves manually. When you're doing a DP input, for example, it may take you like 5 to 7 frames to do the input, but when you're doing the instant version instead, you're skipping those 5 to 7 frames, which can make all the difference when you're trying to react to certain moves. In my opinion, modern Luke overall is probably better than classic Luke, so stay tuned for the pros, but let's start with the cons first. So on screen you're going to see classic Luke for now because I gotta show you what modern Luke misses out on. So losing jumping light punch is not a big deal at all because he rarely uses this move anyways. And even though jumping heavy punch has an amazing hitbox, jumping heavy kick pretty much is a good alternative anyways. So him losing standing light kick is kind of a big loss in terms of utility. So standing light kick is his main punisher against moves that are -5 on block. Although I can't think of many important -5 moves. Maybe like a poorly spaced forward heavy kick by E Honda, or a couple poorly spaced moves by Ken. Standing light kick into drive rush is also a really good whiff punish against crouching medium kicks, but so is standing medium punch, although it's a little bit harder. He also loses this link right here, which is a pretty nice combo to do if you don't get a counter hit on crouching medium punch, but most of the time when you hit this move it's gonna be a counter hit, which means you can combo into standing light punch anyways. He loses standing medium kick. Standing medium kick is a pretty nice poke to create space. Standing medium kick is a pretty good poke to stop drive rushes from further away. Without back heavy kick, modern Luke does lose out on a lot of damage, to be honest, because it's his main way to punish a lot of really unsafe moves like DPs and supers. You would also often combo into this move when cancelling into drive rush, but now instead you have to use crouching medium punch after a drive rush cancel, or back heavy punch if it works, but back heavy punch is slower than back heavy kick, so sometimes it may not work where back heavy kick used to. But I mean, despite that, Luke can still do a lot of damage even without this move. So the lack of a jumping medium punch means he loses out on a pretty great air-to-air, because jumping medium punch, it combos into air knuckle, but it also just in general gives him a knockdown. So this may be kind of annoying for certain matchups. Also, Luke uses jumping medium punch in corner combos when planning on comboing into supers, but I mean he has alternatives for that anyways that don't do that much less damage. He also loses the ability to do his run move and all the follow-ups manually. This means that there's no way to do these run moves without the 20% damage penalty. His tackle also does less damage now, but usually you use tackle to get good Oki, like that's its main purpose, rather than damage. I guess potentially another con is that some normals are a little bit more awkward to do now because they're locked behind the auto button. But yeah, that's mostly everything he misses. Not that much utility, more so damage I would say. But are the pros worth it? Well, let's see. An instant OD Sandblast is actually pretty nice to stop, for example, Jamie from drinking when he's like really far away. Instant OD Tackle might be maybe useful against certain moves in certain matchups because of its armor, but Drive Impact kinda does the same thing. The real buffs he gains are his instant DP and OD DP and his instant supers. So one of Luke's few weaknesses is that he has a slow standing jab. Fast standing jabs are pretty good to stop airborne moves that are meant for getting in, like for example Ken's heavy Dragon Lash. But now he completely avoids this weakness by having this instant medium DP. So now suddenly these kinds of moves are way worse against him. Dealing with Cammy's dive kick is a bit easier now because of this move. And obviously anti-airing with DP or level 2 super is just a lot easier now. And then the other huge buff he gets are basically instant invincible moves, instant supers and instant ODDP. So many moves that are barely reactable are now much easier to deal with. You can stop close drive rushes with ODDP, far drive rushes with level 1 super, and lots of other moves. punishing fireballs with level 1 or level 3 super is so much easier now. And now, of course, when you have supers in Burnout, you have much easier ways to deal with drive impacts. Also, if the opponent happened to drive impact while you were trying to poke them with a standing medium punch, you can cancel into super much easier now on reaction. Especially since Luke has such a fast, far-reaching level 1 super, Modern Luke is a pretty amazing defensive character. It seems so scary to do pretty much any reactable option against him, because if that Modern Luke is ready, you're done. Keep in mind that while he still has access to the manual versions, if he does these instant versions, he suffers from a 20% damage penalty. This penalty is especially visible if he does the instant level 2 or level 3 super, or especially critical art. But who cares about that penalty if it gets Luke out of a sticky situation, or if that damage is going to kill the opponent anyway? So in summary, it seems like because of the lack of back heavy kick, for example, Luke loses out on a lot of damage, but he gains a lot of defensive utility because of these, instant special moves and supers. I mean, who knows, maybe Capcom thinks that modern controls are the answer to defending against raw drive rush in neutral. I don't know. So since Luke loses so little and gains so much in my opinion, I kinda think modern Luke is better. There's certainly matchups though where modern Luke is at least better, or classic Luke is better. So maybe Luke players will end up switching between modern and classic depending on the matchup, although maybe that control change will throw people off. So yeah, while I think many characters don't benefit from modern controls, Luke is amongst those characters that certainly do. So what do you guys think? Are modern controls too strong? Let me know. Also, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. I had no idea this many of you would find my videos helpful. But I hope I can make a lot more helpful videos for you guys. So I'll see you in the next video.